Hello, my name is Matthias and welcome to the FPL Scope and this very special wildcard planning video where I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with my wildcard because I still have it left. I haven't used it up until this point and I'm doing pretty well in FPL as well. For that matter, I'm in the top 200k now, I think, after a pretty successful game week. So yeah, I have pretty exciting plans for my wildcard and yeah, I'm not going to use it right now. I know a lot of people are looking at their teams and they have like their whole backline is out with suspensions or injuries. They have midfielders that are doubts. They have Haaland, who might be injured now until game week 19 or be out until game week 19 at least because they don't have a match in game week 18. So if you are one of those guys who have the wildcard left and basically have to use it this week because you have like 6-7 players that you need to swap out, then stay tuned for my video tomorrow morning where I'm going to do the weekly wildcard draft and talk about what I would do if I used my wildcard this week. But personally, I'm saving my wildcard until game week 20. I'm not going to do it in game week 19 as I originally intended to do when I saved it in the first place. Because back in the day, we assumed that we were going to have a double game week in game week 20 with Man City and Brentford getting that fixture that they are losing in game week 18. Because both those teams blanked in game week 18 because Man City are playing the Club World Cup. And we thought that game would be rescheduled until into the game week 20 fixture. But that doesn't seem to be the case. It's not even going to be game week 21 at this point, I think. There has been like an announcement of the January fixtures and there's still no update about the double game week. So we assume at this point that it's going to fall into game week 24 or game week 25, which means that you'll get ample time to get those city assets that you need regardless. So you don't really need to use the wildcard to get those city assets in, but it is quite handy for that as well. But I actually think even with the postponement of the double game week, I think I'm in a really good position when it comes to the wildcard because we have some pretty interesting tournaments coming up in the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations where we have some pretty major players being left out of the game, mainly Salah and Son, who are worth a lot of money, and you need to like basically invest that money into the whole squad, and having a wildcard is the best way to do that. So I think game week 20 wildcard is looking actually better than what the potential game week 19 wildcard looked earlier in the season, especially now that we have so many doubts, so many players with suspension potential, so many players that are out. We know most managers now are doing transfers out of need, not out of like luxury and stuff. So having the wildcard in game week 20 with all those weird rotation issues, those weird suspension and injury issues, I think it's going to be a huge advantage, and that's what I'm going to talk about in this video basically. But first, this is going to be a sneak peek of my team selection video. I usually talk about my game week or my next game week's plans in the team selection video, but I'm going to just give you a sneak peek right here. These are basically my plans currently for game week 17. It's looking like Haaland is going to be out for game week 17. He blanks in game week 18, and in game week 19, he has an away fixture to Everton, which I think is not the best. So I think I can actually survive without Haaland until game week 20 when I have my wildcard. So he's most likely going to be the player that I sell. I'm currently leaning towards going with Watkins rather than Solanke because I sort of want to do a defensive transfer in either game week 17 already as a -4 or in game week 18 because I have a lot of defenders that I need to change out or swap out, and I have a couple of defenders that I really want to have from game week 18 onwards as well, game week 18 and 19. So most likely I'm going to lean towards Watkins. I think he has slightly better fixtures than Solanke, as we'll get to look at pretty soon. I'm going to take a quick look at the fixtures for Game Week 17 until Game Week 19 as well, just to give you a little overlook for what you can do with your own squad if you still have your wildcard left as well, because this is obviously not just a wildcard video for me, it's also for you. If you still have your wildcard left, what you can do, what plans you can make and stuff. I'm going to try to help you along with those plans, basically. But yeah, I think it's going to be Watkins for me coming in. I think Solanke is a great option, but I think Watkins just has better fixtures, to be honest, and he's also more secure, plays for a better team, even though Bournemouth have looked pretty good lately. So I think Watkins is just a better option currently than Solanke, especially seeing as we are selling Haaland and getting basically unlimited funds. That means Watkins, I think, is a better option than Solanke. But I could be swayed to going with Solanke. Maybe he looks better. Maybe Watkins has some issues. Aston Villa are playing in the Europa League this week, so maybe there will be some issues that make me go more towards Solanke. But I think if I'm doing a forward transfer, if Haaland is indeed out, which I assume he is going to be, then Watkins is probably who I'm going to bring in. On top of that, or instead of that, I might do just cash to Pedro Porro, because I think Pedro Porro looks really good lately. He's looking like the best defender in the game at the moment. He takes set pieces and stuff for Spurs. He's super attacking, has gotten 4 assists in the last 5 game weeks. Really good for bonus points as well. Like, Pedro Porro just looks like a fantastic pick at the moment. And looking at my defense, I have several issues there, mainly Matty Cash, who has been dropped out of the Aston Villa team, doesn't seem to be playing lately. So he's basically nullified. Kabore as well is someone that I could potentially sell, like he has a good Game Week 19 fixture, but that's not really when I need him. I kind of need him in Game Week 18, which is when he has a pretty tough fixture against Newcastle. So both those guys I want to sell. Chimikas as well potentially could be sold. Depends on Robertson being back or not. So there are a lot of defensive issues, but I'm probably going to do that in Game Week 18. But maybe on top of doing a Game Week 18 transfer in defense, I might do a -4 hit in Game Week 17 as well, seeing as I'll have a lot of money in the bank if I do the hold on to Watkins move. So cash to Pedro Porro is something that I'm really considering, even though I already have a Dogi, because I really like having both those Spurs defenders, as we saw now in the past game where they both scored attacking returns. So yeah, I really like those players. So that's basically a preview of the Game Week 17 plans for me. Let's take a look at the fixtures from Game Week 17 until 19. So these are the types of players that you can target if you are like me, if you have the wildcard left and you're planning on using it in Game Week 20, which I'll make a case for in this video. Chelsea are looking really good in terms of fixtures, and they're also looking really good in terms of expected goals created, because they have the best expected goals the last 6 game weeks, which is kind of surprising to me. And seeing as they have Sheffield United at home and Crystal Palace at home and also Wolves away, you could go with a Chelsea forward, like an attacking player, but the problem there is both Palmer and Sterling have 4 yellow cards. They could be suspended if they both, if either of them get a yellow card in Game Week 17 or 18. So there are sort of doubts, and Kunku's not fully back fit yet. You can't really trust Nick Jackson. You can't really trust any other Chelsea attacking assets. Defensively, it's just really hard to pick any Chelsea defenders currently. So I don't really know about Chelsea players currently, and defensively they've just been terrible. So I don't know. I'm not completely sold on Chelsea. Newcastle, obviously, Trippier is suspended for Game Week 17, which means that you cannot bring him in for this game week. But for me, on a wildcard, I think just getting him in Game Week 18 with the unlimited funds basically that I get from selling Haaland, he's pretty much what I'm going to do in Game Week 18. Getting Trippier in after a suspension, after getting a rest, playing as Luton away and then Nottingham Forest at home, potentially with Botman back in the side as well. I think that seems like a really good option for anyone that has or are in the same position as me, who have the wildcard left and can ship him out in Game Week 20 when their fixtures get bad, or potentially keep him because they have really good fixtures after those 3 tough fixtures between Game Week 20 and Game Week 22. But I think Trippier is a really good option in Game Week 18 for anyone else. Watkins, like I mentioned, really good fixtures. Brentford away is looking like a really good fixture currently. They don't have Mbeumo for this match, most likely. They don't really have many good defensive players either. I think Brentford are just there for the taking currently, and that means Watkins is a really good option. Obviously, Solanke as well is another decent option. You can see Bournemouth there with both expected goals and expected goals conceded being second best over the last 6 matches, which is just absolutely fantastic. So several players that are in consideration from Bournemouth. If you need a new goalkeeper, then Neto in goal is a good option. If you need a new defender, Senesi is a good option. Even Kerkis might be a good option. He's really attacking as well. Tavernier in midfield is a really good option for Bournemouth if you need a midfielder, and if you need a striker, if you already have Watkins, for example, and you want to sell Haaland, then I think Solanke is the next best option, especially with the fixtures that they have. Luton at home is a really good fixture. Nottingham Forest away is also a pretty good fixture, but Nottingham Forest have been sort of decent at City Ground at home. And then Fulham at home, which is not looking quite as nice as it did a couple weeks ago. I think actually like the final game in Game Week 19 for Watkins and Solanke, or the final game for us with the wildcard in Game Week 20, that Man United away fixture actually looks kind of better than the Fulham at home fixture now, which I wouldn't have said a couple weeks ago. But now Fulham are really good and Man United are really bad. So in general, I just think Watkins is better. But I think both is ideal. Having both Watkins and Solanke would probably be the best. But I have some other potential moves that I'm going to do with my team. I need to save my transfers, basically. Wolves, also really nice option. I just brought in Hee-chan Wang, or Hwang Hee-chan, however you want to name him. He has 3 really good fixtures in terms of scoring goals. I think West Ham and Chelsea are conceding goals for fun currently, and Brentford now, without Mbeumo especially, he might be back for Game Week 19 actually, so maybe he will help Brentford there, but I think that's a decent fixture for them as well. So Wolves are really good as well. And obviously Spurs, like I mentioned, Pedro Porro is definitely a good option. Richarlison is a good option. Several really good options for the next 3 game weeks if you want to do like a 3 big punt before your wildcard in Game Week 20. But yeah, let's get more into my plans going forward into the future, and let's use FPL.team for that. That is my favorite way to do things because I don't have the subscription for Fantasy Football Hub. So yeah, FPL.team is basically a really good site to use if you need to plan into the future. So this is basically my team for Game Week 17. If I do the Haaland to Watkins move, as you can see, a massive 8.0 in the bank, which is absolutely crazy. Basically unlimited money. Then the next week in Game Week 18, like I mentioned, probably will be Trippier coming in for Medicash. I might also do Chimikas to Poro, potentially do that in the previous game week where I do cash to Poro this game week and bench Gabriel or Chimikas, for example. But I think that fixture, Man United at home for Chimikas, Salah and Darwin is actually pretty good. Darwin as well. He's been super disappointing lately, but I'm just going to keep him for the Game Week 19 fixture against Burnley away, I think. I think that's just too good of a fixture to turn down. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to have to put faith in Darwin and hope they turns it around while everyone else sells him. So that is potentially within my plans. But yeah, Game Week 18, like I mentioned, Trippier coming in to replace Medicash. That gives me a pretty good defense with the dog against Everton. Chimikas against Arsenal is not ideal. This is what I'm talking about with Game Week 18 being a tough fixture for defensive returns in general. Could play Gabriel against Liverpool if I have more faith in Arsenal than I do Liverpool, but I think Chimikas with his attacking output is potentially a better option there. Kabore against Newcastle, probably not the best option, and then yeah, that's pretty much what we have in defense. So yeah, not too happy about the defense there, but offensively it's looking pretty good. Saka against Liverpool might not be the best fixture, but yeah, Game Week 18 is a pretty tough fixture, or tough game week in general with the blank from Man City players and all that stuff. So yeah, this is basically what I'm looking to do for Game Week 18. And then in Game Week 19, I'm pretty much just leaving it up to anything. As you can see, I have 5.8 million in the bank at this point. I can do pretty much everything. I can even get back Haaland if I want to for Watkins. He plays Man United away, which is a tough fixture. I could, or potentially Darwin if he looks to be benched for this game. I could do either of those guys. As you can see, 14.3. That's more than enough to get Haaland for 14.0. So I could do that potentially if I really want to have Haaland back, but he's playing Everton away, which I think is a pretty tough fixture. So I could do something else. I could do, for example, Ødegaard here. I could do Archer to Gabriel Jesus, for example. They're playing West Ham at home, which is a really good fixture for forward. Several options there. Maybe Nkunku's back at this point. Crystal Palace at home for Chelsea. Maybe Nkunku's the punt I want to do. A bunch of things I can do in Game Week 19, and I'm just pretty much just leaving up to what happens really in the game week. Maybe Udogie has been suspended by this point because he has 4 yellow cards. Maybe Palmer has been suspended. Maybe Hwang Hee-chan has been suspended. Several players that might be suspended as well. So I just like to have that option available to me. But this is where we come into the Game Week 20 and beyond fixtures, which is where I'm going to do the wildcard, which is basically the point of this whole video. So before we take a look at what my wildcard draft currently for Game Week 20 is, let's just take a look at the fixtures between Game Week 20 and 25, which is pretty much the window we're looking at, which is where we have the Asian Cup and African Cup of Nations coming up in Game Week 21 onwards. And also we have the window where Man City most likely get a double game week fixture in Game Week 24. So let's take a look at the fixtures. So yeah, these are the fixtures between Game Week 20 and 24 and 25. And as you can see, Manchester City are all the way at the top of this fixture ticker. They would have been, even without the double game week fixture against Brentford, they would have been at the top because they have such good fixtures. So having Man City assets in general seems like the way to go. I just don't really know about the defensive Man City assets currently. I'm not really sold on anyone. Walker plays every game, but he doesn't really have much attacking threat or bonus threat. Stones has been injured in and out of the lineup. Diaz is kind of more too expensive, I think, for what he brings in terms of goal threat and stuff. Akanji might be the best option. I think he's 4.9. He's pretty nailed in the team. He had the most minutes last season, so I think he's probably where I'm leaning if I'm going with a Man City defensive option. But yeah, they have a lot of good options. Brighton are also kind of interesting. Like, they have such really good fixtures here. But one of the things here is the fact that Mitoma is going to leave for the Asian Cup with Japan. He's most likely going to reach the final, which is going to affect him up until Game Week 24 most likely, or Game Week 23 potentially, depending on how far they go. But I think at least like Game Week 20, 21, 22, and potentially 23 is going to be lost for Mitoma as well. So I don't know at this point. Like, maybe a Dingra, maybe someone like that is someone to look after, but I don't really know. I'm not really sold on Brighton. Estepinian as well seems to be out for longer. He would have been perfect for this run, but sadly he's going to be injured most likely. Arsenal, I think, are really interesting. I think they're coming into their own now. I think they have some really good attacking assets now with both Ødegaard being back in form and Gabriel Jesus being back in the side. So doubling up on Arsenal is definitely on the cards here. Luton, probably just staying away from Luton. Even Issa Kabore, who is like the cheap, nice option for them, is going to the African Cup of Nations from Game Week 21 until Game Week 23 or something. So he's probably not the best option either. Spurs have really good fixtures. Pedro Porro or Udogie, or potentially both, is definitely some place you can go here. Aston Villa as well don't really have any awful fixtures at all. They have Man United, Fulham away, Everton away, Newcastle at home, like pretty easy fixtures in general. I've been pretty kind to Everton and Fulham, having them with the grey, like 3 out of 5 difficulty rating as well. So Aston Villa have really good fixtures, and they have really good players as well, and they are just a really good team. So they are definitely a team to target as well. So several really good teams. Liverpool, on the other hand, have some slightly more difficult fixtures. And they also obviously are going to be without Salah from Game Week 21 until around here as well. Game Week 23, 24 at the most. Game Week 25, everyone will be back. Salah, Son, all those guys will be back. What's interesting about Man City, though, is the fact that there is quite a big gap here between Game Week 20 and Game Week 22. I think it's like about a month, because Game Week 21 is stretched out over 2 weeks. So it's going to be like, this is going to be the end. Game Week 20 is going to be basically the 1st of January, I think. And then Game Week 22 is like around the 1st of February. So it's about a month difference. So by this point, I think Kevin De Bruyne is definitely going to be back. He might be back already in Game Week 20. But by Game Week 22, especially, he's going to be back for sure. And that seems like a really nice jumping off point from either Son or Salah if you have them currently in your own team as well, if you don't have a wildcard. If he's back in Game Week 20, you can definitely just go from Salah to De Bruyne or Son to De Bruyne. And you can also potentially do that in Game Week 22 as well if you have one of them left, either Salah or Son, the one you haven't sold in Game Week 20 or 21. So yeah, De Bruyne is definitely a nice option because I think he's going to be back, especially by Game Week 22. So yeah, several really good options. West Ham have really good fixtures. The players that don't have good fixtures are, as you can see here, Trippier, Liverpool away, Man City at home, Aston Villa away. Not the best, but after that, Luton at home, Nottingham Forest away, Bournemouth at home. Pretty good fixtures. So yeah, Trippier is another like interesting player. Chelsea have had or are going to have some really good fixtures coming up now, but at this point of the season, Game Week 20 on beyond, they don't really have the best fixtures, so they're not that good either in terms of fixtures. So kind of a mixed bag here, but I think the big advantage of doing the wildcard in Game Week 20 is the fact that you can ship out the likes of Salah and Son, as you can see from fixtures as well. Maybe you want to keep Son for Bournemouth at home, but Salah you can definitely leave out for the match against Newcastle at home. Then Salah's going to be out for the Bournemouth game, Chelsea game, and potentially Arsenal game as well. Maybe he'll be back for Burnley Game Week 24. You need to have a plan to get him in there, but that will be plenty of time to do changes and stuff. So yeah, a lot of interesting fixtures here, but just let's go back again and let's take a look at the team and look at how different my team is from Game Week 19, which is the team you're currently looking at, and then Game Week 20, which is the wildcard that I'm going to use. So yeah, basically 8 changes from the wildcard team. Might also be 9 changes if Kevin De Bruyne is back. I'm probably going to just do it right here. Just have De Bruyne in ready for Son. Sheffield United at home seems fantastic. Tripling up on City if that's the case. De Bruyne, Haaland, Doku, like I mentioned. Not 100% sold about any of the defensive assets for City, and having 3 bites at the apple basically when they have those really good fixtures. And in that run where usually City are the best team in the league, from New Year's onwards, they are usually fantastic and just win every game like 3, 4, 5-0. I think having a triple City attack there is going to be really lucrative. So quite like Doku. I might also go with Foden. Several options there, 2.6 in the bank as well. Obviously with both Salah and Son being out, you get a lot of money in the bank, even with Haaland in the squad. Watkins as well keeps his place. As you can see, Aston Villa have some really good fixtures. I might also have an Aston Villa defender, but currently I think this defense is looking slightly better because I like the Spurs defenders just more for the attacking output as well. Doubling up on Arsenal, Saka and Ødegaard, potentially also potentially Saka and Gabriel Jesus, but I really like the option of having Raúl Jimenez as like my 3rd striker, my 8th attacker, if you will. Him and Palmer can rotate pretty nicely as well going forward into the season. I think both those players are really good. Jimenez is looking back to his best self, and Fulham are looking really good as well, so I think he's a really good asset to bring in as well. Gusto, I think, with the Reece James being out for 3 months, I think Gusto is the best Chelsea defender you're going to have from Game Week 20 onwards, assuming he's back healthy at this point, which I think he's going to be. So yeah, I think Gusto is like, he's not entirely nailed even without Reece James in the squad, but I think he is pretty close to getting a lot of good matches there, playing as a right wing back or right back for Chelsea. So I think he's going to be a decent bench option. Branthwaite, I think, is just the best 4.1 and below option in FPL currently. Everton are looking really good defensively. I really like him. When it comes to the goalkeepers, I'm pretty unsure. I just feel like there are doubts about Dubravka. That means that I need to have him as the bench goalkeeper rather than as the starting goalkeeper. But if he keeps his place, if he stays as the number 1 goalkeeper for Newcastle after January, he is a must-have, I think, with Newcastle's fixtures and Botman coming back and all those guys coming back and them getting a rest in January as well. They're going to have really good defensive fixtures from at least Game Week 23, 24 onwards. So I think Dubravka is nice as a second option. Currently, I'm leaning towards having Johnston for this run from Game 20 onwards, because at this point, they're going to have Eberechi Esse back. So not the best fixture for Arsenal away, but Sheffield United at home is a really good fixture. Brentford at home is a decent fixture as well. They have some decent fixtures in general, but I'm not 100% sold on Johnston, so maybe I'll switch it. Maybe I'll just go really cheap with Areola as well, have Areola and Dubravka if both of them play. If Dubravka is looking likely to be the number one goalkeeper going forward, I'm probably going to go with something like that, either Turner or Areola as the backup goalkeeper to Dubravka, but that is up in the air. Gabriel, as always, going to have him basically the whole season, I think. As you can see from the fixtures there as well, Arsenal have really good fixtures, as you saw from Game 20 till Game 25. Really nice fixtures. After that, a bit more shaky, but yeah, you don't really have to worry about the Game 25 and 26 and stuff when you walk in Game 20, because you will have plenty of transfers to do by that point as well. So yeah, in general, I really like this team. I think it's a nice use of the funds, nice spread of the cash with De Bruyne and Ødegaard, basically being de facto replacement for Son and Salah. Watkins obviously on top with Haaland. There are several options you can do here as well, but yeah, I like the triple city potentially as well. So yeah, I pretty much like this wildcard team quite a lot for Game 20. I think it's going to be nice to have the wildcard and just be able to go carte blanche, have all the picks that I want, basically, when everyone else has been struggling putting their team together for the past few game weeks, Game Week 17, 18, 19. It's going to be quite a struggle for most people because they have a lot of flags, a lot of suspension issues, a lot of injury issues and stuff. So I think I'm going to have a huge leg up. And this is probably not going to be the final team for my wildcard in Game Week 20. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening between now and Game Week 20. That's going to change the landscape quite a lot. I've already done I've prepared for the Game Week 20 wildcard for the last couple weeks, and the wildcard has looked pretty different from day to day, basically, because we get new information all the time, which completely changes the team. So yeah, I just like the basically all the options that you have if you have a wildcard left and you use it by the latest possible point, which is Game Week 20. Previously, obviously, Game Week 19 was the fixture or the game week where you would use your wildcard because you were looking to get those double game week fixtures in Game Week 20 and having the triple captainship available in Game Week 20 for Haaland to use. But obviously now with Haaland having just a single game week against Sheffield United, not the double game week against Sheffield United at home and Brentford at home, like it looked like he was going to have, you can wildcard in Game Week 20 and don't worry about triple captain until potentially Game Week 24 when he has potentially, if you can see here, I can actually switch on this projected fixtures. This could potentially be the double game week for Haaland in Game Week 24. Imagine having De Bruyne, Doku, and Haaland in these game weeks, or in this game week with Brentford at home and Everton at home. I think that's looking pretty good in general as well. So yeah, those are pretty much just my plans for these upcoming game weeks, basically, and my wildcard in Game Week 20. Like I said, if you have a lot of issues currently, if your team is looking like the one you're looking at the screen right now with all the red flags and yellow flags and orange flags, if your team is looking like this currently, then maybe you should use a wildcard right now if you have it still. And if you're doing that, please watch the video that I'm going to release tomorrow with the weekly wildcard drafts, because I'm going to go through who I think are the best potential picks in Fantasy Premier League going forward in the next 4 to 5 game weeks and beyond, pretty much. So yeah, I hope this was kind of interesting, kind of nice for you to see what you can do if you have your wildcard left, for any of you guys who have joined me on that journey. If you don't have your wildcard left, maybe I made you a bit jealous, hopefully. I'm pretty happy about my current rank and my current position in FPL, so pretty excited for the weeks to come. Pretty excited for some short-term punts now with Trippier and stuff, who most people won't be able to get because it's just too short-term of a transfer because he has really tough fixtures from Game Week 20 onwards. So I think there are some really nice potential things you can do if you have the wildcard in Game Week 20. So yeah, I hope I proved this in this video. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you could subscribe to the YouTube channel. Would be much appreciated. I try to make a lot of content. I keep saying that I'm gonna make even more effort into the future, and at some point that's going to happen. But yeah, we'll see. Either way, hope you enjoyed the video. Like I've mentioned a couple times now. Thank you and goodbye.